They're two of the only round-faced smartwatches you can find today, and there's only a $50 difference between them. But despite their surface similarities, these Android wearables are targeted at two totally different types of customer. I'm Michael Fisher with Pocketnow, and this is LG G Watch R versus Motorola Moto 360. Since these are both Android Wear devices, they're powered by essentially identical software, and you can see our review of the platform at Pocketnow.com. The differences here come down almost entirely to hardware. The Moto 360 is the picture of minimalism, with an unadorned stainless steel cylinder of a casing and a display reaching almost all the way to the edge, with a small cutout on the bottom for a sensor and equipment bay. The G Watch R, by contrast, doesn't make any pretense of restraint. Its stainless steel casing features huge shoulder-like brackets for the watch band and a wide bezel with minute markers. Even its side button is bigger. And despite, or maybe because of, its chunkiness, its display is smaller. Let's talk about those screens for a second. As you can see, the G Watch R's is perfectly round, lacking the flat tire of the 360's display. LG's is also sharper, and it uses P-OLED technology instead of the Moto's IPS panel. OLED makes much more sense on a wearable if you prefer to leave the screen in ambient mode all day, because only the active pixels are consuming power. To achieve similar efficiency, the 360 has to turn its backlight down so far that it's much harder to read. About the only advantage of the Motorola display, besides its size, is the ambient light sensor that adjusts display brightness on the fly. The G Watch R doesn't have that. Despite its superior screen, in almost every other way, the G Watch R is the more pedestrian of these two. The band it ships with is leather, but it feels much less premium than the 360's soft Horween leather band. The G Watch R charges via hardware connectors and a nice magnetic cradle, but the 360 beats it out with a more elegant wireless charger that also doubles as a nightstand. LG bundles many more custom faces with the G Watch, but that's about as far as the customization goes. Meanwhile, Motorola offers an app to tweak the fine details of many of its watch faces, and the company just this week announced new watch bands in multiple sizes and materials, even more customizable watch faces, 2 different casing colors, and a Moto Body suite for greater health and wellness tracking. Now, there's nothing stopping LG from following suit with its software, or eventually its hardware, but for now, if you want more customizability, the Moto 360 is the way to go. Day-to-day, as smartwatches, these perform almost identically, despite having completely different guts from processors to batteries. The G Watch R came out of the box very responsive and long-lasting to boot, making it about 36 hours between charges with ambient display on. And after a few software updates, the Moto 360 can now match that, with none of the sluggishness or short battery life that plagued its early days. Both are IP67 rated for water resistance, and both benefit from an ever-growing ecosystem of watch faces and apps. At its heart, then, this comparison is about cosmetics and use case. The first issue is almost entirely subjective. Some will prefer the chunky, burly look of the G Watch R, while others will appreciate the sleeker, more understated Moto 360. But the cosmetics play into the utility. Because the G Watch R is more rugged looking, I'm less concerned about damaging it, so it's the one I would pick for an away mission to a hostile hiking trail. Whereas the Moto 360 would be my preferred companion at a fancy dinner. So unless you're buying entirely on specs, which I never recommend, there's no objective winner or loser here. If you're Bear Grylls, you'll probably favor the G Watch R. If you're James Bond, the Moto 360 is probably the better bet. Be sure to let us know which one you are. Leave a comment down below telling us which watch you'd choose if given the chance. Check out our reviews of other Android Wear devices here on YouTube, and stay tuned for Pocketnow's G Watch R review coming next week. Till next time, this has been Michael Fisher with Pocketnow, Captain Two Phones on Twitter, reminding you to keep your leather supple and your steel stainless. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.